Well, good afternoon, and welcome to Desert Valleys Live. We apologize, we're about 15 minutes late, but this is only our second time around, so we're still working out a few technical difficulties. Nick, thank you for being here again with us.
Thanks for having me.
Nick again is going to be our kind of host back and forth questions as we start our second time around.
Right.
This time with some lessons learned from the first one.
Yep.
And, I want to throw a question at you before we start with mine, which is, how are you enjoying this? You tell the audience what Desert Valleys Live is becoming.
I wasn't prepared for questions, Eric.
That's exactly my point.
No, this is awesome. It's a great opportunity for Raw Media Productions to kind of flex our skills, and we're super happy to partner with Desert Valleys and the mayor, of course, and just get an opportunity to use our film equipment to the full capability. This is great.
So we've had a lot of fun. We've actually built out an entire room at the credit union. We've got a contract in place to run 24 of these over the course of 2021. So we're really committed to this idea of bringing live stream. And one of the reasons why we made this decision is we understand that people don't communicate a lot, through written word as much anymore. But
Right.
Video seems to be the golden goose.
Right. It's hard to disseminate information through written word and, the newspapers. And I think we're losing a lot of the younger audience, and they are mostly watching videos. And Ridgecrest in general doesn't have a whole lot of video information going out. So this is excellent to add.
Yeah. And so I have it in my questions, but just as one that we're going to talk about, our goals from here is to get this onto YouTube, get it out in terms of a podcast format for you guys to be able to listen to at your convenience. We're going to try and keep them at about 30 minutes. I think that's kind of our goal.
Yep.
And we're going to just cover topics, but the idea is always bringing you information, bringing the public information. And we've created the two shows. So DV Live every week is going to be about the credit union. That's going to be a host with some questions, and we're going to mix up who's here.
Right.
So let's be clear. You're not going to see Eric 24 times this year. If you do, you're going to tune out 23 times. But we're going to have some guest hosts come in. We're going to have some people that you probably already know are related to the credit union, like our board members and some of our staff members and stuff like that. We're going to try and get a larger involvement. And then DV City Talk, which will go out on my Facebook page, but really is about bringing in guests from across the city. So we're not going to isolate that to just about what the mayor's thinking or what's coming up on council, but we're going to get into some other conversations and bring, I just want to, I know there's other people that are going to get involved in that. So we're excited to bring these two shows, and we're excited to have Raw Media as a partner on bringing 24 of these to you over the next year, and hopefully we don't screw it up too bad.
Right. Yeah. We're excited to be here.
Even though we were 15 minutes late on our second broadcast, it's just small technical difficulties. And if you don't know, equipment is very finicky. And if you try to string together two USB-C connectors, it does not work.
Yeah, public service announcement.
So, lessons learned from USB ports.
Right.
So I'm going to let you go ahead and throw the questions at me. We're going to talk, and we'll go on with this show.
Okay. Well, to get started, basically, we know that there's been a COVID surge in Ridgecrest, and we wanted to know what the credit union's actions were regarding that surge, and with the stay-at-home order lifted for the region, what's the credit union doing?
So, I always say transparency is a really good thing, and I want to be honest with the membership so they know what's going on. So we have had 6 positive cases in our staff since December 11th. We had none, then we had a rash. We've had it in waves, and none of it has came from inter-office transfer. It all came from outside the office, which has been social circumstances, daycares. My husband, I stopped for food in LA. I mean, it's been a variety of contract tracing. But I think a lot of people don't realize that we're only a staff of 15.
Okay, yeah.
So when you have 2 people go down positive, but they've had 3 other possible staff interactions, we go from 15 to 10. Then if you have anything else extenuating, and we've had 2 of our managers on medical leave, you go from 10 to 8. Then you have somebody else go down, and now you're down to 6. And so the decision to close the lobby for the period of time was about making sure that we had sufficient staff on hand to support needs. Let's be clear, it was staff actions. And so as staff is recovering, as we're starting to get a little more immunity within our own staff too, because now people that have had it, I don't have to quarantine in the same way. It's a challenge, and I heard somebody describe it this morning as the COVID merry-go-round, which is I have one employee here that's exposed because they were working on this project with Joe, and now they're in the COVID merry-go-round for 2 weeks while we figure out if they've got it.
Right.
Well, but Joe's got it, and so Joe's out, and while the other person's doing the merry-go-round, and then we do this cycle over and over again. That's kind of what it's been for the last 6 weeks, and I can't stress enough to the membership. I apologize. As the manager, this is not what we want to be dealing with, but this is the cycle of COVID now. Tests are showing that we are definitely over the top of the hill in terms of that December surge, and we are starting to see people returning and people that have been able to recover and return to work. But we're working through it. And the biggest thing that I just have to tell you is now that the stay-at-home's been lifted, we are waiting to get the last little surge of our staff back. We're looking towards Saturdays, but we want to make sure that we've got our staff healthy. And I can't stress you enough. My biggest concern is we turn on the branch to full 10 to 6 on Saturdays, and then 2 people go down, and I literally have to backtrack again. And it's inconvenient to you as members, and it's inconvenient to us as managers.
Right. So I got to ask, is everybody that got sick doing well?
Everybody's recovered. Yeah. We have one that's, so we have, of those 6, 5 are fully recovered and returned to work. 1 is still out, and 2 were in quarantine as of this morning. So, and not showing no symptoms, but we play this kind of rope-a-dope with staff trying to make sure that we've got people protected.
Right. Okay. All right. So what things can members do to help support the staff and safety of all who need the credit union open?
So again, we have not been able to evidence anything that's internal transfer. So we don't believe members are the point of transfer. We don't believe that staff interactions has been the point of transfer. But, I think that the biggest thing that I can ask of the membership is just to offer us and yourself that little bit of extra respect. Throw the mask on. It's not that big a deal. There's sanitizing stations at both entrances and the exit. It's out on the teller counter. It's available for any transaction that you're doing. And then above and beyond everything else is, I think the one message that so many people aren't saying is, please don't be stubborn.
Sure, yeah.
If you feel sick, go home.
Yeah.
Stay home. That's the hardest thing about this thing is that you're feeling fine one day, you don't think there's anything wrong, and then you get a phone call from that staff person the next day that says, hey, by the way, I'm running 101 fever and I've lost all taste and smell. And everybody who they were in contact with literally the day before in perfect working order is affected. Yep. Now, those cases I can't stop. But when that same person says to me, oh, well, yeah, I had a headache all day the day before. And I go, you realize you could have cost me or saved me 2 staff people in that moment.
Right. We're also used to kind of just covering for the headache and stuff, but don't risk it, guys.
Yeah, it's just not worth the risk. It's. I mean, the vaccines are getting out, things are getting solved. Nobody likes the situation. That's my favorite things when people get mad or angry over it. Why? You can't change it right now. Right. And nobody likes it. Nobody's happy about it. I mean, I know that we can go into, all the political diatribes and everything else, but, from a person-to-person relationship, and that's why this came up. I tell you the story of the Joneberry, right? You and I did the show 2 weeks ago. Did the show. We've worked in close proximity for weeks at different times.
Right.
We didn't think twice about it. And then somebody said, how does it appear? Well, okay, we're not going to wear masks during our show, but we've got something that just that little bit of difference.
Right.
And it takes so nothing to do it, and it's worth it.
Right. Giving it a little bit of respect.
It's just a little bit of extra respect.
Do you have a date set to reopen on Saturday?
We're targeting the 20th right now. The goal, again, is to reopen without interruption. So that would be after the President's Day holiday weekend, which is the 16th, 17th, I think it is. It's the Monday after Valentine's Day. So that'll be a 4-day week, and we think that mandates going to the 5th day because that will also be a Flex Friday. That's the best target date where we're expecting to have all of our staff back in a healthy manner and that we can start to do that. So
That's just for the Saturdays, or what about normal lobby hours?
10 to 6 is probably going to happen sooner than that. 10 to 6 will probably happen soon.
Okay.
I mean, within a week or so. I'd like to see everyone back. So that might be the beginning of that same week, just depending on the holiday staff schedules and things of that nature. And just so you know, we are still, we still have staff here from 4 to 6. So if you have something that's a special need, like a loan request, new account request, things like that, we're scheduling appointment times to have you come in during those.
Okay. Yeah, I've noticed the long drive-through lines. So are there any alternatives to that? Or?
Yeah, first, for those people that are out, the lobby's open. Lobby's been open for the last 2 weeks from 10 to 4. We have a lot of people that stayed in the drive-through lines for their own protection, perfectly reasonable, or they weren't aware of it. So yes, doors are open. It's 10 to 4. We don't have a specific lobby limitation, but if you flood my lobby, I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna stick somebody outside and tell you to back off until I get it thinned out. But truthfully, we have the staff to support that. It sounds so funny, but to have both those areas, and I don't think members would ever get into this type of detail, but to have both those areas open, it's all about the number of staff.
Right.
So you have to have somebody sitting on the drive-through and somebody sitting on the phone. That's 2 people. Then you have to have somebody else to support another, any other service. That's a 3rd person. That's another phone line ringing. That's another, anything that's got to be done. I'm working on a wire for a member, whatever. So then we go to 1 more, and that's how our lobby's open. So that's a staff of 4 to open the lobby. Now, a lot of people don't perceive that, but for us, a staff of 4 on that lobby is thin compared to our normal 10 to 6 Saturday crew would be 6 people running, would be 5 tellers and a supervisor running that front area for all of those needs.
Right.
And you'd say, well, 2 people, that can't make that big of a difference, except that 1 new account takes a body down for 20 minutes while they're doing the new account. Or because our phone lines are still answer and ring, it takes people down. So I think everyone's been really patient. We really appreciate that desperately. Thank you. Know that we care about you just as much as you care about reaching out to us. We really do. It's just trying to find that happy balance between staffing and services. And COVID threw it into disrepair. I laugh because if you said, well, that happened in March. No, March was a completely different thing. I don't know about how you feel, but March and April we are in complete and utter panic mode.
Right.
We don't know
Chaos.
what is coming at us. We don't know if everyone's going to end up sick and dead 2 weeks from now from the Black Plague.
Right.
That's kind of what.
Now we know what we're dealing with.
Now we know what we're dealing with, and that's where the merry-go-round's coming into play.
Makes sense.
But we can make it work. So
how about mobile banking?
Well, okay. So we picked this topic, and myself and you and the conversations, and I guess I don't think some members fully understand how they can get things done the most efficiently and the most time sensitive. So let's talk about some basic things in the home banking that are available. Some basic things that you can find out about. So one of the first ones I want to talk about is notices. So a lot of people don't know that we have built into our online banking the ability for you to set up what's called notices. Now, these are not the pieces of paper that we send you in the mail.
Right.
But these are text messages or text alerts specific to actions on your account. So, for example, I have a text alert that says, deposit above or deposit below or balance below or balance above. But I can set that up for all kinds of different things. I can set that up for check clearing. I can set that up for an online transfer. I can set it up for a payment being made. The system is robust in those choices. But let's just say, for example, deposit above, right? You set a tax threshold that says deposit above $10. Well, the cool thing about that is then we can send you a text message immediately when your ACH payroll deposit posts. We can send you a text message if you've made a mobile deposit and you're waiting for it to post. We can send you a text message if there's a ATM deposit. And so why I did those things? Why do I care about getting the notices? Well, then you have the note. You don't have to call us and ask.
Right. Okay, did I get paid today?
Yeah, I mean, did I get paid today? Well, here's a really simple tool that can kind of make it in your power versus in ours. Because we can send you that notice. It's automatic. You get it immediately. And you know what? A lot of times people are surprised because we've changed our posting schedules. We're trying to get the money into your hands as quickly as possible if it's available. And so we actually post a lot of stuff over during the middle of the night that you might be able to do something first thing in the morning because or you're waiting till 10 o'clock to call. And let me go on another little tangent. I'm going to go out my 10 o'clock tangent. Wasn't a part of our questions. If you are watching this and you are digitally savvy and you are watching Facebook, please wait until 11 a.m. Because if you understand how technology works and understand the people and customers and social dynamics of whose needs are, a lot of times at 10 o'clock in the morning, we get flooded. And that only makes it more inconvenient for you. I promise you by 10:45, we have usually cleared out that flood. But if you wait until 11 o'clock, you'll probably call and we'll pick up on one ring and we'll be able to solve your problem very quickly. Or you'll be able to walk in and not have a line in front of you. And just consider that extra hour. Consider that if it's a Monday morning at 10 a.m. and the doors just opened, if you have to get to your money right now, that minute, then please come in. We're here to serve you. But if you're not planning on going to anything until 10 o'clock at night, swing by after 11.
Yeah. I've definitely been guilty of that. I mean, I'm 9:59. I'm like hitting call.
Just give us an hour.
That's me.
Because it's the flood that comes in. And a lot of times people say, well, you don't have enough staff. Well, no, we have plenty of staff. It's a matter of, we're trying to educate the members as far as other things that are available to make your life easier. We started off, had this conversation with so many people that Desert Valleys was $11 million Searles Lake Community Federal Credit Union when I got it in 2004. We're a $55 million credit union now. We've grown and added and enhanced, but we need to let the members know these are there.
Right.
And so that's a simple one. The other one is I need a printout of my account. Guys, its statements are online. They're there. Please, it's not a hard service. And we'll be happy to review anything you like with you. That's our job. We're proud to do it and proud to serve. But just as a heads up, there's lots of tools inside that home banking that can make your life easier. Using notices, using bill pay, using statement archives, using transaction history, all those types of things. And luckily, thanks to our good partners, Raw Media, if you click at the very top of the online banking page, our homepage, before you log in, we have a series of tutorial videos that we made at the start of COVID.
Yep.
Just so we can be able to provide you information on what's out there.
And it's not just about convenience. I mean, at this point, it's about safety too. I mean, you want to protect yourself and your loved ones, and the less that you get into community environments, the better. So
yeah, it is.
Print it out. If there's something that you can do at home, check it out, guys.
Yeah, print a PDF, do any of the above.
So, if someone does a mobile deposit or an ATM deposit, is it accessed faster?
So I asked Nick to bring this question up because a lot of people get confused about the idea of deposits and how they function. And so I'm going to give you a little bit more of a My team likes to call it my carburetor talks, where I try to explain how a gas engine works, even though I have no goddamn clue. That's just a fact. But here's the gist. It's all about who is seeing the item. Okay?
Yep.
So if I take my check and I deposit it in an ATM, our ATM or anybody else's ATM, whose eyes are seeing that check? And the truth of the matter is no one, until it's been proofed, processed, and ran through a series of computer programs that are all built to automate that process so that the ATMs can be available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Right.
Well, what's the problem with that? Is you are putting it in the hand of the machine. Okay? So
Amanda? Sorry.
We're learning. We have a crew in here, guys, just so you know. I say a shout out to Amanda Diaz, who's our new marketing coordinator, and to Paul Sutton, who's our producer on the table. But we have a crew that's actually doing this with us.
That's like a real set.
And here we are as we're trying. We're going to have little buzzers under the table eventually. But the key being is understand nobody's seeing it, right? So you take $1,000 check and you put it in the ATM. I have to assume that your check as a Desert Valleys member is the same as a check for somebody from, let's say, Golden One,
Okay.
who's traveling in from out of town. Because it's a deposit network, I'm not actually seeing the difference between a Desert Valleys deposit and any other credit union deposit. And so therefore, that's a lot of times where members get themselves stuck with holds, is because they've put them through that means, and I have to automatically hold it as if it's anything else because it's got to clear through the system.
Right.
So this is where mobile comes into play. So when you take a picture of your check and send it to us through mobile deposit, which if you've not tried, I encourage you to try.
Now, hold on. I got to comment on that.
Okay.
One thing, you have to make sure that you write down the necessary for mobile deposit only. I
The
did that at least
instructions are
3
right
times.
there, though.
I
The
know.
instructions are there.
It was like 3 times I did it. And
Every time that there's a little pop screen with the instructions, it's right there. And you're right. You do have to write on the back for a mobile deposit. And do you know why we have to write that?
No, I have no idea why.
It's so that you can't take the check and walk over to Bank of America and deposit it.
I like that idea. I didn't know that.
Pretty simple.
People do that?
If you write on the back of the check for mobile deposit only, the teller, hopefully, who you try to give the check to again, opens the check up, looks at the back, and says, "Did you mobile deposit this already?"
Got it.
It's a fraud prevention, and it's part of the rules and regs now, and it's to protect all of the financial institutions because mobile deposits became so prevalent, and I mean we've had like a 100% increase in mobile deposit, maybe even 200% increase in mobile deposit use during COVID.
Yeah.
But it's understanding that it's not just about COVID, it's about access to a resource.
Yeah, it's super easy to do.
And like I said, so going back to it, you take a picture, right?
Yep.
So tell me, based on what I just said about the difference between ATM and mobile, what's the difference between that and when we do a mobile deposit?
Well, it sounds like the ATM process is miserable. Maybe this one isn't?
No. ATM, again, I can't see it.
Oh, okay.
I physically have a picture of the item in front of me.
Okay.
I can visually identify whether that item is your payroll check that came in every 2 weeks for months, or if it's a $500 check from grandma.
So mobile deposit because
Mobile
you can
deposit,
visually see
because
it.
I can visually see it, I can expedite the release or the availability of funds for you.
Okay, so that's the way to go.
That's it's a simpler, easier way. And a lot of people say, well, I do a mobile deposit, and I'm gonna give you all the pros and cons. I do a mobile deposit on Friday night and I don't get the money till Monday. Well, that is right now partially accurate because I don't have staff here on Saturday and Sundays. So what I do want members to know is it's a learning system. So if it's your first mobile deposit, you are probably correct. It's probably not going to release it to your account.
Right.
But if it is your 8th mobile deposit, the likelihood that it's going to automatically release those funds to your account is extraordinarily high if the other 7 have all been accurate and fine.
That's the interesting thing about credit unions is like you get to know your customers.
Right. It's an intuitive system. It's a system that learns our members' patterns. So, I mean, if you've been depositing, $15 checks from grandma for a year, and then you want to deposit a $10,000 check and have me give you immediate credit on it, my computer system's going to go, no.
Maybe not.
I mean, it's intuitive, but it is far more efficient. And we can get the funds to your account because as soon as you use the system and it learns your patterns and it learns what your habits are and what your dollar thresholds are, as soon as you make a mobile deposit, if it's learned that algorithm about your behavior, those funds become immediately available in your account, the same within seconds of the deposit.
And that's not happening at the ATM.
And that's not happening at the ATM.
Okay,
no.
so it's not just the tellers and everything knowing who you are, but it's the system that's using AI to learn who you are.
It's the systems that are using it. And that's why I made the stressing about if a check is put into my ATM, I don't know whether it's a Desert Valleys check or a Desert Valleys member versus a Golden One member making a deposit. It's going to go through the same bucket. And the result is that I can't provide you the same level of service. So if you're not using mobile deposit, please use mobile deposits. It's a fantastic program and something we invested in.
So, I mean, we've talked about the lobby hours and stuff like that. There's just a lot going on with COVID, but can you explain to us, how you become a new member here?
So, first, we welcome you. One of the cool things about Desert Valleys in terms of membership is if you've had challenges or I call it colorful past. We learned way back when we first were starting to work our videos. I talked about colorful credit versus bad credit and what a mean term that is. Let's talk about that. The bottom line is we have availability between 4 and 6 to take appointments for new accounts. If you've had some challenges, come in. We'll be happy to talk with you. And the bigger thing, probably more than anything else, is just that we're learning to talk. We are the type of people that want to talk and understand your needs.
Right. Want to communicate, develop a relationship.
Yeah, we're out to. I mean, you have lots of choices in financial institutions. It's all about what your desire is. For us, I would say our brand and our culture is all about a much more individual one-on-one type relationship. If you're looking for every cool doohickey out there, I'm not your guy.
Right.
But perfect examples like mobile deposit. We did that in the fall of 19 with no idea COVID was coming in terms of the upgrade, but we upgraded because we wanted to make the service better for the members, putting the AI and putting the logic pieces in, because those people that used mobile deposit before know the delay was even worse.
Right. I've got to say, I'm 30 years old, and all my life I've looked at banks as just a very corporate, snobby thing. And Desert Valleys has been a breath of fresh air for me, seeing that, people that can learn your name and you get a wholesome environment here. You can talk to the CEO if you needed to, and they get to know you, and your credit, colorful credit. That's a thing. They understand that people have different experiences in their life, and you can come in and open up dialogue about that, not just, a number and a yes, no, and based on this, X, Y, Z.
I always say that computers are great unless you're trying to actually talk to them.
Right. Right.
And then they don't talk to you back very well.
Right.
I mean, it's just a simple reality. I mean, you can build complicated AIs, but they don't actually read body language or emotions or some of those things as effectively as just a person can, and we can get a lot more accomplished. So the lobby's open for those things. If you come in at 11 a.m., at 10:01 a.m., the likelihood is that we're going to try and schedule you for an appointment, and that's simply because of staffing. But we're here and available, and you can apply for loans online. You can apply for send us an email. We can have people get back to you. My staff will go the extra mile. I'm not worried about that.
Absolutely. So what's the future of Desert Valleys Live?
So, as I kind of mentioned in the beginning, we got 24 of these ahead of us. We would love your topics.
Yeah.
Please, comment, share, email. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us if there's something that we do that's complicated that you wish you understood more. Think of this as, from a member perspective, think of this as 22 episodes of picking the brain of the person that's actually trying to service you. So if I wanted to understand an auto mechanic, to be able to understand why my carburetor isn't working.
Sure.
then I want to go to the carburetor. I want to go to the mechanic, have him sit down and explain that this does this, and this does this, and this does this. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about like mobile deposit. A lot of people, I can't tell you how many people have said, use mobile deposit, and they go, well, that's so much harder than using an ATM. And I go, no, it's not. You can go to an ATM and do it like that, but I can't see it.
Right.
You don't even have to leave your house to do a mobile deposit.
Well, there's not really any place that explains what's the benefit of doing a mobile deposit over an ATM. Here, you get the information right here.
Yeah. So this is going to be your show. This is something we're excited to bring information in a new medium, and we're going to have guests, and we're going to have mixed up shows. I make no promises that we won't do a show in costume. I've already thought about that for Halloween. And Nick's already cutting it off, but the idea is it's supposed to be fun. We're making a good dialogue. We can start to build out and show you things like perfect example, stupid, but guys, understand that we're really getting into this to bring you something better. Is putting a TV up here gives us the ability now over the next couple of weeks as we continue to work on stuff that let's say you wanted me to simulate a mobile deposit right now.
Oh, yeah.
I would have the ability to do that for you or show you a video or be able to describe how something specifically works. So we really want to make this an interactive show about bringing you the best information.
Right. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, Eric.
I talk too much again.
It's all good.
I got to get you talking more.
All the questions are for you, Eric.
I sense a show. We'll reverse the questions.
No.
Desert
Valleys Live.
Okay, Desert Valleys Live. Thank you. Like, comment, share, let everybody know about this. And we'll see you at 4 p.m. for City Talk.